right, hi everyone. I haven't met everyone yet, but my name is Spencer. I'm going to be talking about calories tonight and the different nutrients and tipping the balance between exercise and food and how that all kind of relates to calories and creating that balance. But first I wanted to spend a little time reviewing last week, and to do that I wanted to try a little activity. It's going to help get some steps in as well, so we're going to kill two birds with one stone. If you don't feel comfortable or you have some injuries and don't feel like moving around right now, that's fine. Just sit down, and I'm actually going to ask you just to kind of participate and watch, and then maybe I'll ask you to share what you see as well. Okay? So if I can have everyone kind of stand up and gather around right in this little aisleway here and right in this little aisleway over there. Either one, it doesn't really matter. So, now, if you look down that way, there's a sign that says agree, okay? And over here, it's a little limp, but it says disagree, okay? There we go. All right, so I'm going to stand in the middle, and I'm going to go through some statements, and you're just going to put yourself where you feel like you are in terms of disagreeing or agreeing with that statement. So agree is over there, disagree is over here. All right?
But if you're not strongly on either side,
You plop yourself in the middle.
Wherever you feel.
Wherever you feel, yeah, exactly.
Did you say to move in that direction or just face that direction?
Move in that direction. So wherever you feel like you fall in that continuum, just put yourself there. All right? Let's start off with this one. I wish food did not cause weight gain. You disagree.
Yes, it is.
All right, so we have a pretty strong agreement here.
It's just like out to make us exercise.
Maybe. All right, well, let's just try this one. I like being active.
What?
You can define that however you want to define it.
Change the channels.
I like being active.
I like to be active. I like to be active.
Batteries in the room.
Okay. So if you like being active, we're going to be more over here. If you're maybe a little bit unsure in the middle, if you hate activity, no, you're fine, you're fine. All right, so a little bit more variability here. That's good. Let's try this one. I like to cook. I like cooking. Agree over here, disagree over on the other side.
I'm not getting my steps.
Right in the middle. A little bit on the agree side. Awesome. All right, cool. Let's see. I was able to fit in some activity on most days over the last week. So some activity on most days. It's all judgment call.
This reminds me of the Sixth Sense. This thing he's doing the thing with the kids.
I actually put this on today, though.
Okay, so some variability here. How about, can we get a couple examples over here of some things that you did this week to be active on some of the days?
Walked and danced.
Walked and danced, nice.
Raped and bagged leaves.
Raped and bagged leaves, awesome, that's a good one.
Water aerobics.
Water aerobics, nice. Very good. And anyone feel comfortable sharing some challenges to activity? Because we all have challenges to being active.
I write a big report and that is sit down for hours.
Work is definitely one, right? Work is one, good. Anyone else? Challenges?
I'm supposed to be there, I forgot.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's try this one. I was able to track every day over the last week. So track every day over the last week. Food, track food. So the journal, the little
Hang my
booklet.
head as I walk.
I did do that.
I lost my nose one day.
All right, so you're pretty much over here then. All right, cool. So what has it been like tracking? Can we share a little bit of that experience? Like what do you feel like is the biggest benefit from tracking?
I don't eat as much.
Don't eat as much,
Help you know what you're putting in your body.
help know what you're putting in your body, building that awareness. Nice. And what about some of the challenges to tracking?
I hate it.
Hate it.
It takes a lot of time.
To find
A
the
lot
food.
of time.
So it's time, there's a lot of time
And sometimes
involved.
things are hard to find.
Exactly.
Some things are impossible to find.
Impossible to find. So it's hard to know exactly and calculate those calories and the fat and the carbs. Yep, totally. How about over here? Yeah.
That's my life coach.
I literally did not think of it
Just leave it
from
blank.
the time I left here last week until I got back.
So remembering to do it can be
I
a
just
challenge.
absolutely forgot.
Absolutely.
And I need to figure out a way to put it on my bulletin board or tape it on the bathroom mirror or something. I don't know, but I literally didn't think of it.
So maybe we can hear from this group, what are some of the ways that you use to help remind yourself or remember to track and fight through some of these challenges? And we can open up to anyone on that.
A whiteboard in the kitchen.
A whiteboard in the kitchen. Cool.
I kept my tracker on my desk at work.
So
I mean,
keep
I'd
it.
take it home at night, but I didn't always write stuff at night, but then I'd, put it out the next day and catch up.
Okay, great. There and there.
I use my fitness pal and not the little book.
It's
a lot
easier.
easier for me.
Okay, so you found an alternative. So she uses an app on her phone. Yeah.
Put it on your calendar as a reminder to do it, like you set aside time.
And how many do you just put one like each night? You remind yourself, or?
I do it every morning when I
Okay.
get up, but I've heard different.
Yeah, to
ways
go on
to do it. The other thing is
I
that
said that we should have like 30 minutes or something. How about it?
To remind you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Great.
As you chew.
And I think one thing that I've noticed too is like it is very hard. It's a lot of work to track, but we have a lot of people over here as well, which I think is great. They're pushing through and doing that. All right, let's try a couple more. I feel confident that I'll be able to achieve my goals in this program. A little heavier. Okay, cool. Well, I feel better. Nice. All right, let's see. Let's go. One more. How about this one? Weight loss is hard.
If you got anybody that needs to gain weight, I can.
All right, cool. So, thank you. I hope that was a little bit fun. I want to have you all grab your seats again, and then can my observers share some things that you noticed watching the activity? So she enjoyed herself watching, yeah, okay. What did you notice in terms of the variability in the different statements? Or the whole group, what did you guys notice in terms of the different responses from different people, or similarities?
More similarities than differences.
So more similarities than differences. Mm-hmm. There's no wrong answers to this. Whatever you saw, whatever you noticed. Was that something?
No, we're
Oh. How about this? A lot of you felt confident that this program would help you achieve your goals. What about this program so far makes you feel confident that we're going to help you and you're going to achieve those goals?
2 weeks every week.
So accountability, weighing in, definitely.
I think having the wellness coaches too.
So having the health coaches, yes sir.
I'm a safety engineer, so I can say if you cannot measure it, you cannot control it.
If you can't what?
If you cannot measure it, you cannot control it.
Yeah, definitely.
Found out some of the foods that really have a lot of calories in it.
So yeah, so
I
more
was
knowledge.
eating.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't eat them now.
hmm What about coming together like this and having a group support? Having other people to talk to and see every week who are going through the same things you are. That helps?
Weighing once a week helps
Weighing?
to be accountable for somebody to write it down.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you for playing. So what we're gonna do now, you should have a trivia sheet as well. If anyone doesn't have that, can you raise your hand and we'll bring one over? But it's should just say trivia week 5. And so what we're gonna do, you should have gotten 2 handouts. One handout has a lot of information on it. Instead of going through that, we're gonna go through and play a little trivia. And as we go through, we'll go talk about the right answers for each of them and kind of use that as a way of presenting the information. Okay? So, we're going to start, since we did physical activity last week, with the physical activity trivia. And I need my answer sheet. So, what I'll do is I'll read each statement, and then we'll go through the answers. Okay? So the first one, hi, my name is Larry. I'm 50 years old. I'm 6 feet tall and 250 pounds. Last night I burned 125 calories in 20 minutes doing what with my best animal friend?
Walking.
Absolutely. So he was walking actually at a moderate pace on flat ground and burned about 125 calories in 20 minutes. And that's one thing to keep in mind with exercise and figuring out how many calories you burn. How intense the exercise is will dictate how many calories you burn.
You can eat 10 chicken wings and blow that real quick.
Well, you're jumping ahead to round 2, but I like it. Hi, my name is I'm Freezing. I'm a 60-year-old male. I'm 5'10" and 300 pounds. This morning, I cranked out 207 calories just to make sure I could get to work doing this activity for 15 minutes. Bingo, shoveling snow. So you can see that. Shoveling snow is, in less time, burns more calories than walking. And a lot of this has to do with your body type, how big you are. The bigger we are, the more calories it takes to move, and how vigorous the activity is. So if you're shoveling snow, you're lifting heavy weights, throwing it around, you're going to burn quite a few calories doing that. But if it's just a little snow pile and you're just moving it a little bit, you're not going to burn as many calories as well.
Lucky you didn't have a heart attack.
That's true too. That's a very legitimate
The first
concern
thing I
for
thought of
freezing.
was getting dressed.
I would like to see that because that's some vigorous dressing in the morning. Hi, my name is Lori. I'm 50 years old. I'm 5'5" and 200 pounds. Last night I sat down to watch my favorite show and burned 252 calories in 20 minutes of this activity.
Laughing.
Laughing?
Exercise.
Bicycle. So stationary bicycle. So she sat down. She might have been laughing too, which would be a few extra calories. And burned 252 calories in 20 minutes. So that's fairly intense. It's not just light spinning, but a moderate to higher level intensity. All right, number 4. Hi, my name is Rose. I'm 60 years old and 5'3" and 175 pounds. I love the spring because I can get outside and burn 215 calories doing 20 minutes of one of my favorite activities. Gardening, yes. So gardening, exactly. So these don't have to be exercise in the sense of sitting on an exercise bike. We can get outside and do things. So the raking leaves definitely counts as an activity and exercise. And again, with all the other ones, right? If you're pruning your bush and you're sitting on a bench and doing that, you're probably not burning 215 calories. But if you're hauling leaves, moving things, you're probably burning 215 calories or thereabouts.
Burning is not different from person to person.
It is. Yep. So it depends on weight, it depends on your muscle mass as well. So there's a lot of factors involved in that, and we'll talk later tonight about some of those factors involved in our burn rate. But these are all estimates, and the closer we can get in terms of intensity, the better the estimates will be.
Does age have anything to do with it?
Yeah, age is one of the factors. So we'll ask me that question in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Susie. This is the last one. I'm 50 years old. I'm 5'5" and 200 pounds. I got up 20 minutes early this morning to do this around my neighborhood and burned 103 calories. She walked too. So just like Larry, she walked, but she burned 22 less calories doing the same intensity walking. So this is where we see a difference based on body type, gender as well. Their age is the same in this case, so we're really just looking at gender and body. So any questions, comments? What did you kind of notice going through the exercise portion? You got a good one back here somewhere. About the chicken wings? What?
Yeah, I know, I ate a bunch of them, and I looked in that book, and I went, oh, man.
Right? So when we're looking at this balance, right, we got 20 minutes of moderate intensity walking is what? It's at maybe about 125 calories. Well, you ate maybe 1, 2 chicken wings, you're even. You ate 6 chicken wings, you're gaining. So exercise is only one part of losing weight, right? So we need to look at both the exercise or activity, what are we putting out, as well as what's coming in. Any questions? So round 2 is food. Number 1, I add the perfect crunch to a turkey sandwich, but 1 ounce or a small bag of meat also adds 160 calories.
Chips.
Potato chips, specifically a small bag of Lay's potato chips. So that's what we're talking about. We do 20 minutes of walking while eating a bag of potato chips. We just gained a little bit of weight. Not a lot, but a little bit. Alright, so number 2 is a little tough. Yum, breakfast is the best. People come from all over the world to enjoy my friend and me. It's a true American breakfast duo. 206 calories of pure joy. So bacon and eggs is a good guess.
Sausage.
It is actually pancakes and syrup. So about a tablespoon of syrup and 1 pancake. And this is actually from IHOP. So it's an IHOP pancake and syrup is 206 calories for 1 pancake. M&M's might actually be close. I think a bag of M&M's though might be closer to 300 or 400. The snack packs might.
Now, how many pancakes was that? 3?
It's 1 pancake.
That's 1?
It's 1 pancake
You're kidding.
and a tablespoon of maple syrup.
Use sugar-free maple syrup and you.
Sugar-free maple syrup would probably be a little bit less. Absolutely. It's probably
It
50,
doesn't
60.
taste that much different. No, it doesn't.
All right, number 3. Again, a little bit more challenging. My girl Wendy whips me up for a healthier lunch option. 380 calories and packed with 36 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, and 13 grams of fat.
Salad.
So whips was a poor word. I got this feedback in Charleston. Forget that whips is in there. Throws together. How about that? Throws together.
Salad.
Salad. Yep. So this is the, what's it called? Asian chicken cashew salad from Wendy's.
Oh yeah, that is a good salad.
So, and I like to throw that in there as well. Like, so that would be quite a few calories, but if you're looking at that as a meal, 380, depending on what you need in a day, is not bad. What I like about it is the 6 grams of fiber, and you're getting 36 grams of protein. 13 grams of fat isn't necessarily a bad amount. Plus, when you think about it, probably a lot of that's coming from the dressing. If you get that on the side, you could probably cut that number in half. And you're going to cut out quite a few calories by doing it that way as well.
I gotta tell you
Yeah.
what I do with my dressing. I put a little bit in,
Yeah.
put the lid back on, shake
And
it up,
shake it.
and it coats it rather than pouring it on top.
That's the best way to do it.
People don't think that it works, but it works.
There we go.
I'll even dilute my dressing with water.
All right. So what do we think of the food section? What are we trying to take away from that?
Eat healthy.
Eat healthy. Okay.
Don't eat it all.
It's a lot easier to cut calories in your food than it is to burn the calories with exercise, right? A lot easier.
I don't think this stuff takes all the joy.
Throw it away. Throw your Halloween candy away, because that's what I'm going to do. I can't, if it's sitting there, I had to put it in another room, and then we got 1 trick-or-treater. I was like, are you kidding? What am I going to do with this? So I'm getting rid of it. All right, round 3, we ready? So this round we're going to go more into looking at the nutrients in the food. People often add meat for extra flavor to foods, but look out. I pack a calorically dense or heavy punch at 9 calories per gram.
Salt, butter.
Fat. So fat, oils are fat, so we're looking at just the whole big broad category of fat. So there's saturated fats like your butters, there's the unsaturated fats like oils. So there's healthy fats and there's unhealthier fats. In terms of calories, right, we're looking at balancing our diets. It isn't just about calories, because if we look, we'll find out in the question number 2, there are certain nutrients that aren't as dense with calories, but if you just ate those, you wouldn't necessarily have a balanced diet. So one of the important roles fat plays is to help fill us up and help us feel full. Overdoing the fat can be a bad thing, but not getting enough fat, and you might feel really bad all day because you just don't have enough energy, you'll be starving all the time. So using some fat strategically can be a great way to feel full throughout the day. My buddy and me are pretty mediocre. We each pack 4 calories per gram in our food, so there's 2 answers.
Salt and pepper.
Those would be 0.
Protein.
Protein's 1, and carbs. So protein and carbohydrates each have 4 calories per gram, so less than half of what fat has. But again, when you're looking at putting together your meals, you want to make sure you have a little bit of all of that. And one of the things in particular that can be very helpful is to make sure you have some amount of protein at every meal, so you spread it out throughout the day. That can help you feel full. And if you have a little bit of fat with that as well, that'll help you feel full and can help moderate any cravings you might have throughout the day. All right, we ready for number 3? I'm an important part of your diet. I help move things along and feel full. Oh, and did I mention that I'm usually calorie-free? Fiber? Water is too. Water does help me. Water would actually fit real well here. So water and fiber, I like that. So fiber can be a great way of doing that. Fiber is part of a carbohydrate. So if you're eating something that's packed with carbs, but it also has 4 or 5 grams, like broccoli, it's going to be very, very low calorie because the carbs you're getting there are mostly fiber, which aren't getting absorbed in the body. And I should back up, I didn't say this, but calories basically are just energy. So it's the source of energy for the body. So if the fiber doesn't get absorbed as energy, it doesn't have any calories. So there's nothing that gets stored in our body. So if we have an excess of calories, the body will store that as fat. And when we're trying to lose weight or tip that scale in the other direction, we want it to expend more than we take in, and the body will actually burn what it needs to make that up from its fat stores. And we'll, I think, touch on that in 2 questions. Okay, so number 4, people say I'm the life of the party. And I don't like to brag, but people usually have a good time when I'm around. But look out, I am packed with 7 calories per gram. Beer, alcohol. So any alcohol, beer, wine, liquors, are going to have 7 calories per gram, and they're not going to have much else. You're not going to get any fiber. You might get some sugars. So the hard alcohols won't have sugar. It's just going to be pure alcohol. But your beer and wine will have sugars as well. So you're going to get those carbohydrates plus the calories from the alcohol grams. All right, so the last 2 are a little trickier, but let's see what we can come up with. So to calculate our daily calorie burn, so how many calories we burn in a day, we're going to add our resting calorie burn rate, which is just the amount we burn at rest, to the number of calories burned, maybe we should say burned through exercise, activity, yep. So any exercise you do, any activity you do, how they define the resting burn rate is basically how many calories would your body burn laying in bed, breathing and beating the heart. So, and that's actually where the majority of your calories burned each day will come from, and we're going to go through how to calculate that a little later tonight. And I gave away number 6. I did this yesterday too, but we'll do it anyway. Our resting calorie burn rate determines the amount of calories needed to stay alive, beat the heart, breathe. Okay, a pound of fat contains blank calories of energy.
None.
140.
It's more than 9, fortunately. It's in the handouts. 3,500. Yep. So 1 pound contains 3,500 calories. 1 pound of fat. So, and this is a rough calculation, but for most people it's going to be about that. So when you're targeting weight loss, we're looking at if you want to lose a pound a week, if you have a deficit of 500 calories in a day, so say you calculate it out and you burn 2,000 calories in a day, if you eat 1,500 and you do that every day, by the end of the week, you would have lost a pound of fat. So that's the nut and bolt, the dry science of it. In real life, what happens is our bodies retain water, and that can fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds throughout the day, and that's random.
This is a constant 66 for the man, the 66?
Yeah, you're jumping ahead. We'll get to that.
Does your body normally that'll come from fat?
The
weight loss.
the 1 pound. Yeah. So ideally it comes from fat. So, and what can happen, like, so if we're not eating enough protein, some of that weight loss can actually come from muscle mass. So if your body's not getting enough protein, and protein's used to maintain muscles as well as your organs, the body will go and it'll break down, say, oh, my left bicep, you don't lift very much. I'm going to take a little bit of that muscle, break it down, and use that for protein to repair my kidney or something.
So if you exercise too much, might that?
So exercise isn't bad, but you just want to make sure that you're spreading that protein out throughout the day so that your body has enough protein. So, right, so if you're giving your body the protein it needs to rebuild the muscles, rebuild the organs, operating at a deficit, it's going to go get the other energy it needs to, say, power those muscles and move from the fat. So does that help answer that question?
Sort of.
Fire another one.
So if you want to increase your weight loss, if you do a lot of exercise, is it better to eat a higher proportion of protein than you might ordinarily?
It can be, and this is where we're still figuring out the exact science on all of this, and a lot of people have different theories on the perfect number of protein to eat. Typically, in my experience, the best way to manage weight loss is not through excessive exercise because it is hard to then get the right balance of nutrients. But if you're doing a moderate amount of exercise, you should be able to get plenty of protein just through your normal diet to maintain what your body needs to stay alive. The activity level will help burn a little bit more, and then if you watch what you eat, you can knock out 400 calories just from watching what you eat, right? If you skip the potato chips, and say you had 2 servings of potato chips, that would be 320 calories right there, and you watch a couple other portions, throughout a week, that's going to turn into that 3,500 calories, which will equate to the pound of fat loss. And again, I wish I could give you the nuts and bolts, like this is exactly what's going to happen, but it doesn't happen like that. It's very difficult to track, It's very difficult when we're tracking, and even if you're doing a very diligent job to know if you're getting it exactly right with what's happening. So this is always just kind of an estimation. Then the better you can track, the better you can measure, the more accurate those results will be, and the better information or data you're going to get. So then if after a month, 6 weeks, you're at 2 pounds of weight loss, and you want to be at 4 or 5, well then we might say, okay, well, let's cut the calories back a little bit more. Maybe we're eating a little bit too much. But again, and the reason I say 4 to 6 weeks versus 1 week is because if on a given week you're retaining a little bit of extra water, whether it's a little bit of stress, whether you're inflamed, you're a little bit sick, it could be foods we eat as well. Well, we might come in and step on the scale and we're 3 extra pounds of water than we did the last week, but we lost a pound of fat. Well, on the scale it shows we're up 2 pounds. And that's just part of life as well. So it's always good to use the scale as a data point, but don't get too worried if it's going a weird direction. You're like, well, I did everything pretty good this week. Give it another week, see if it adjusts, right? And if you're like, yeah, it probably is up this week, at the same point, it might not be up as much as you think. Part of that might be water as well. Any questions?
I have a question. Why do people then carbo load before they go work out? What would be the point? Is it for the energy that they do it?
Yeah. So she asked about carbo loading. So a lot of the newer research that I'm reading is not supporting carbo loading. So part of our muscles store energy as sugar molecules, and part of the sugar molecule in your muscles is water. So if you eat a lot of carbs, you actually will retain a little bit more water and you might be a little bit heavier. So depending on what athletics you're doing, that might not be the best thing. So if you're running, well, I wouldn't really want to be carrying an extra couple pounds of water. So you're better off just eating a balanced diet throughout.
But what is the point in it? I mean, what is...
So theoretically, yeah, that was the point, right? So carbs are sugars and energy, and if we carbo load, the body will absorb all of that and store it in the muscles so then they're ready to perform the next day. But I don't believe that that's the most effective way. If you eat a balanced diet throughout, your body will be continually replenishing those stores, and if you're resting, like so sleep, water, you're going to have the energy you need, and you shouldn't need to change your diet before exercise.
So then when someone takes a pre-workout drink, is that carbo heavy as opposed to protein? Is it more carb
It's usually more carbs, and it's like B vitamins and caffeine and energy booster. Good questions. Anyone else have questions? Where are we at? We're looking good. So I want to work on calculating your BMR. So if you have a phone with a calculator, please use it. And if you don't, we do have a bunch of calculators, and we'll walk around as well to help out where needed. So you'll see that there's two calculations. There's one for women and one for men. The number at the beginning is a constant. And you'll see that there's three areas that your BMR will fluctuate around. So one is our weight. One is how tall we are, which probably won't fluctuate much. The other is age. So as we age, as you see, the age is the negative. So as we age, our BMR, or our base rate of burn, will get slower and lower. And as we lose weight, it will get lower as well. Not dramatically. So go ahead and work on that. And if you have questions or if you need a calculator, just raise your hand and we'll bring one around.
Don't forget the decimal points.
And don't forget the decimal points. Thank you.
Question. So, the weight that you put into this, would that be your current weight or your ideal weight?
Current. So we want to calculate, yeah, that's a good question. So your current BMR. So you're putting in your current weight, because that'll give you your current BMR. But say in 3 months you've lost 15 pounds, then you'd want to maybe recalculate it, because it will be a little bit
I
different.
would say that's just a reason why we hate men.
Who said we hit men?
Yes, Steven.
Is that right, or is that a misprint?
No, that's right.
Why do men get 66 and we have 690
Because we
pounds?
got different bodies.
See, didn't I tell you? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm right.
And you'll also notice though that they have bigger multipliers, so it's not, it all, I don't know, like some scientists came up with it.
No, it sounds good.
Well, so yeah, we'll calculate. Give everyone a second to catch up. Everyone, let me get everyone to catch up. We'll explain that a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
That's how many calories roughly you need to stay alive if you laid in bed all day.
Really?
Okay, so how do I clear this? Oh, I don't think anyone's supposed to any more than that now.
Yeah. So do try and jot down. You guys have good questions. Can you jot down some questions and ask them to the group? And that way they can learn.
But no, seriously, I'm supposed to be calories and that, and I can lay in bed.
Yep. So and that's why I wanted to do this, because I think it's really good information. So you,
Oh, no, not
so
you
like
too.
this is just something that you're gonna burn probably.
I never used a calculator in my life.
She's trying to do hers
So if
and
you
she was
ate
gonna do
that,
mine.
you would probably read about it.
Take your
Right, and if you went a little bit under that, you might need a little bit more.
Really?
She's
What do you do?
I don't know. Okay. Goal of losing weight.